Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of NBA Shorts. I'm Alex Cervantes with Alex Grossman, and today we are going to be ranking our top five rookies February 10th, plus a couple of honorable mentions. So, Alex, I'll send it over to you. Who are your two honorable mentions?
Yeah, so these aren't necessarily my best two guys that missed the cut, but
Mhm.
just two guys that I think, deserve recognition are Davion Mitchell and Io DeSumo. And I think both of them have just like continuously stepped up their game as the season has gone on. And they're sort of just not getting much attention, but I think they've just been really impressive lately.
So, you stole my two. Those were going to be my two. I'll
Oh,
also,
really?
oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Davion Mitchell. Did a scouting report for him in the summer before the draft. But Mitchell, Dosunmu, just Dosunmu's kind of holding on Chicago right now, along with DeRozan and Ball and Levine. It's just hilarious to me. I mean, it's well deserved, but he's been such a good piece for them, such a good addition in a second round pickup. And then I'll just tack on. I think Chris Duarte too. I don't think I expected, like the kind of knock that these elder guys get even when they're drafted is kind of like, well, are they like they're an immediate kind of plug and play kind of guy, but I don't think anyone expected a 23, 24-year-old to kind of have this effect for this Pacers team. Anyways, so those would probably be my three honorable mentions. So I'll swing it back over to you. Who's number five on your big board or ladder or whatever you want to call it?
Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go with Josh Giddey at number five.
Okay.
Um, he's been very impressive. The only things about him is he's got to be a little more consistent. Start making more of his threes. If he wants to be a good modern guard. So, but overall, he's been great. He's putting up every stat you can imagine, and I think he's got insane potential going forward. So, who's your number five?
So I kind of I went back and forth between who I have at four. I agree. I'm gonna go with Giddey here at five. Even though I feel like should get a bump because of those TikToks he does, but
That
um
is true.
it is true. Like I feel like that has to be under consideration a little bit. But he's averaging 12, 7, and 6. So again, really respectable stat line. Unless I'm wrong, I thought he was the youngest person to get a triple double in NBA history a month or
Yeah.
two ago. So again,
Yes.
I saw a pass from him the other day, just a video of he kind of saw it. They had this sidelines out of bounds play, and he was the inbounder. He just kind of zipped it in, and they made a layup. So that was one of the most impressive passes I've seen from a rookie. And then I guess I'll move quickly to my number four, and that is Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic. He's averaging 15, 5, and 3. I don't think, again, it's Orlando, so they're not good. So I don't think he's getting maybe all his due, but he is a rising star selection for the upcoming All-Star weekend. And he's played more games than every other rookie. He's just a bucket. I don't really have much else to add besides that on Wagner. I just think his selection here kind of has more so to do with the top three just kind of being a cut above the rest. So who's your number four?
Yeah, I completely agree with the Wagner pick. It's weird because going into this year, I would have thought, well, it's going to be Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs that are, leading this team and the guys of the future. And then you have Franz Wagner, who, seems to be playing better than both of those guys. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not Cole Anthony, but he's sort of come out of nowhere for me, and maybe I underestimated him. But yeah, he is a bucket. And I'll go into my number three, and I'm going to say Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors. He's just been amazing. He's, not everyone projected him to go that high in the draft, but they seem to get it right. And he can play defense, he can score, he can rebound. And that team really excites me with Van Vliet, Gary Trent, OG, Scotty, Siakam. That's fun. And that's Scotty really adds something to that team moving forward. So that's my pick.
I promise to the viewers we did not talk about who we had on our selections ahead of time, but I also have Barnes at 3. So
really,
again, for mostly the same reasons. But again, he's averaging the 15, 8, and 3. He's kind of that uber athletic Swiss Army knife wing that kind of is where the league is going in terms of falling in love with those 6'7" to 6'9" guys that can bring it up the floor, defend 1 through 4, can just do it all for a team. Again, the Raptors, you lose Kawhi 3 years ago, and now you're kind of again in this rebuilding stage. But Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, like you mentioned, and now obviously Scotty Barnes. So I guess I'll go into my number 2. I hope we don't have the same guy again. I'm going with Cade Cunningham at 2. Mostly because of what the guy at 1, where his team is at and the effect he has on that team. Cade, obviously, number 1 overall pick, does it all for the Pistons. They're just bad. 16, 5, and 5. I can't really blame him for the misfortunes of that franchise. It's just kind of where they're at right now. And he's hurt, which also I think is why maybe he gets a bit of a knock here. But I don't think anyone's arguing that you can maybe make an argument now that the guy that I'll have at number 1 should have been the number 1 overall pick. But again, Detroit, he's going to be the cornerstone of the franchise going forward. And they're in a rebuilding phase, and that's where it's at.
So we actually have some different picks finally.
Okay.
I'll explain my 2 and 1 at the same time. So you have Cade and you have Evan Mobley, both of whom have been really impressive. I think most people would put Mobley ahead of Cade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put Cade at number 1 though, because this is sort of a rest of this season projection. I think for the rest of the season, Mobley is sort of just that guy that will give you, your 15 points, your 8 to 10 rebounds. But I think, for example, with Anthony Edwards last year, the second half of the season, he just took off, right? He was just scoring 25 a night. He was doing it.
Yep.
So I think Cade is going to start to find that rhythm. And I think we're going to see some big games out of him moving forward for this season. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put him at my number 1 and Mobley at 2.
Okay. And then obviously, just going to round this out. I've got Mobley at 1, 15, 8, 3. He does so much for this Cavs team. Partially, it is the Cavs are 4th in the East at 34 and 21. We're almost at the All-Star break. No one expected them here. Obviously, you've got Jared Allen, you've got Darius Garland, you've got a contributing Kevin Love, Cedi Osman. The list goes on for that Cavs team that are young and revitalized. But I do, through February 10th, I do have Mobley at 1 right now. And obviously that can totally change in a month's time. But I think that'll wrap this one up. For me, for Alex, for us at Vendetta Sports Media, please visit our website, vendettasportsmedia.com. Follow us on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube. Like this video. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. And that'll do it.